This is really an exercise in translation, but of course when you start translating into any other language, from English of course, you need to look at the features of the original text, which is the ST, source text. And here is a piece of news which happened yesterday in London. This is the title of the news item. It says, "Child airlifted to hospital after 6 children and 1 parent hit by a car at a school." When we are reading, of course, we need to look at some of the features. 1 child was airlifted to a London hospital and remains in a critical condition after a car hit 6 children and 1 parent in Sussex. 3 of the other pedestrians have potentially serious injuries. South East Coast Ambulance Service, CCAMP, said. Of course, here we need to look at what are the elements that we need to pay attention to, which are the numbers, for example, 6 children, 1 parent, 1 child airlifted, 3 pedestrians, and it says 3 other pedestrians. When it says other, we need to know that that means that that the other pedestrians are that have been injured, which are 3, but there are 6 and the parent, which are also pedestrians, it seems, that are hit by this car accident or car when it hit them. Now, the other important feature in this particular section is CCAMP, which is an acronym for South East Coast Ambulance Service. And here we have a compound noun which consists of coast and ambulance and service, which are all nouns. But coast and ambulance are acting as adjectives to the word service. We need to establish as translators what the translation of this service is called. Of course, this is a quite important CCAMP because it will occur further down in the text as it is shorter to write than South East Coast Ambulance Service. Now let's carry on reading. A Tesla car driven by a 47-year-old woman hit the crowd outside Ardingly College, West Sussex, in College Road on Monday at around 4:30 p.m, police said. Monday means yesterday. Of course, today is Tuesday, and that is the piece of news is yesterday, August 2021. Ardingly College head teacher Ben Figgis said this was a serious accident that caused considerable shock to the children, parents and staff involved. We are keeping in mind particularly the children who were injured and their families. Of course, this is a quotation which starts from "this was" and ends at the very end here. So that is a quotation which we need to put in inverted commas when we are translating. So we should not forget the inverted commas. Then the report carries on. It says there were reported to be 5 ambulance and an air ambulance on the scene. So there are ambulance cars, 5 of them, plus an air ambulance on the scene. Air ambulance means it's an aeroplane which is an ambulance, helicopter. CCAMP, now we know what CCAMP is because it's already been mentioned before. So we know it is the service, the ambulance service, which was mentioned earlier in the text, and it shows us what it means, and we need to remember what it means, which means South East Coast Ambulance Service. So CCAM said on Twitter in a statement, and there is another quotation here. And this quotation ends in the word London, following an RTC in Ardingly this afternoon. Our crews treated and transported 6 patients, 5 children and 1 adult to local hospitals, 3 with potentially serious injuries. Here we need to understand that the 6 patients are themselves being explained in after the comma as being 5 children and 1 adult. And they are all taken to various hospitals. And that 3 of these, of the 6 patients, have got serious injuries. Of course, the word serious means grave, means very, very serious, means it's not a minor injury, it's a major injury to their bodies. 1 patient in a critical condition was transported by an air ambulance KSS to St. George's, London. Of course, St. George's is the name of the hospital. We need to know and assume that St. George's is not a place, it's not a street, because Saint, ST is Saint here, St. George's, which is the name of the hospital in London. And then the end of the quotation mark. Then when we move to the last one here, Superintendent James Collis from Sussex Police said, quotation, "I'd like to thank our emergency services partners and members of the public who assisted at the scene. Our thoughts are with those there yesterday and their families. The cause of the collision will form part of our investigation, and we ask people not to speculate at this time." This is in itself, this quotation here, and the quotation before, we know these are said by the Superintendent James Collis. And we know that the previous quotation, which starts from here, it's from the ambulance itself. So this is the ambulance people talking. This is the police still talking here, our thoughts, and carried on. And then before that, we know that this is the head teacher at the school who's talking. And this is his quotation. So you see, this is very, very important to know who is talking and the quotations for each one talking, and also know that these quotations needs to be addressed with quotation marks.